that we here highly resolve these dead shall not have died in vain, that the nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
The nation shall have a new birth of freedom.
Senator from Kentucky.
I rise today in opposition to raising the debt ceiling. I rise in particular in opposition to raising the debt ceiling without getting any sort of spending reform or budgetary reform in return. In fact, it will be completely the opposite. We will be raising the debt ceiling in an unlimited fashion. We will be giving President Obama a free pass to borrow as much money as he can borrow in the last year of his office. No limit, no dollar limit. Here you go, President Obama, spend what you want. We do this while also exceeding what are called budget caps. We've been trying to have spending restraint in Washington. It hasn't worked very well, but at least there are some numbers that government is not supposed to exceed. These include spending caps for military spending as well as domestic spending. But ultimately, there was something passed called sequestration, which put caps on both military and domestic spending. And it did slow down the rate of growth of government for a little while. This is the problem with Congress. Congress will occasionally do something in the right direction, and then they take one step forward and 2 steps back. Now we're doing the same thing again. We're going to add back in, this time, $80 billion, $50 billion in 2016, another $30 billion in 2017. We're doing the opposite of what we should be doing. We should be using the leverage of the debt ceiling, saying, we're not raising it again until you reform your ways. The right's going to get more military money. The left's going to get more welfare money. The secret handshake goes on, and the American public gets stuck with the bill. So often up here, things become partisan, and people just want to point fingers and say, oh, it's that party that did it. They're the ones responsible for the debt. But I want to let you in on a secret. This is a secret that goes on and on and on up here. It is something I call the unholy alliance. It is the unholy alliance between right and left. They both have sacred cows they want to spend money on. So instead of saying, you know what, the debt is a real problem and we both have to conserve in both areas, they both get together secretly and raise the money for their sacred cows. So on the right, we are busting the limits because the right wants more military spending. The left wants more for welfare. The unholy alliance, a secret handshake, and what gets worse, the debt. Now, I think one of the most important things we do is defend the country. If you ask me to prioritize this spending, I would say we got to defend the country above and beyond and before all else. But that doesn't mean we're stronger or safer if we're doing this from bankruptcy court. I think the number one threat to our country, the number one threat to our security is debt, it's this piling on of debt. The number one priority up here shouldn't be trying to scrounge around and find new money to spend. It should be trying to conserve. It should be doing something that some say is radical, but I say is the absolute essence of common sense, and that is we should spend what comes in. When I ran for office in 2010, the debt was an enormous issue, and the debt was $10 trillion. Some of us in the Tea Party were concerned because it had doubled in the last 8 years. It doubled from 5 to 10 under a Republican administration. And many of us were adamant that Republicans needed to do a better job. We had added new entitlement programs. We had added new spending, and the deficit got worse under Republicans. Now we're under a Democrat president, and it's set to double again. This president will add more to the debt, than all of the previous presidents combined. We're in the middle of a filibuster. This filibuster will go on till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we will find out who the true conservatives in this town are. If you are a conservative, you're going to say, we shouldn't be exceeding the budget caps. If anything, we should be passing more stringent budget caps. It disappoints me greater than I can possibly express that the party that I belong to, that should be the conservative party, doesn't appear to be conservative.
Paid your foolish tax, read the acts, and they just won't do. We want to make it clear we believe this much is true.
Blanket and the hat. I have to say that I'm very glad that you also have a blanket for Michelle so she doesn't steal mine.
And John, before we get to that, I wanted to bring our viewers up to date on a story that is breaking right now that I just learned about within the last 15 or 20 minutes. And
it was 10 days ago that Access Hollywood released that tape. I'm wondering, when you first saw it, when you first heard it, what did you think?
I said to my husband that, you know, the language is inappropriate. It's not acceptable. And I was surprised because that is not the man that I know. And as you can see from the tape, the cameras were not on. It was only a mic. And I wonder if they even knew that the mic was on, because they were kind of a boy talk, and he was lead on, like egg on, from the host to say dirty and bad stuff.
You feel the host, Billy Bush, was sort of egging him on?
Yes, yes.
Is that language you had heard him use before?
No, no, that's why I was surprised, because I said, like, I don't know that person that would talk that way. And that he would.
She has no natural talent to be president.
She's very talented, and she has a husband that I also like very much.
Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the United States.
Hillary Clinton, how did she do as Secretary of State? Probably above and beyond everybody else.
Let's say Hillary is president.
Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job. And I would
say that kind of stuff in private. I heard many different stuff, boys talk. The boys, the way they talk when they grow up and they want to sometimes show each other, oh, this and that, and talking about the girls. But yeah, I was surprised, of course.
Listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to
going to bomb the shit out of them.
We'll beat the shit out of them.
Political bullshit.
You're not going to raise that fucking price. You understand?
So, if you're voting for the other team, it's not because of the economy. It's not because of the economy. You gotta be clear about that. I mean, even the Republicans on the other side don't really know what the guy's talking about. They really don't. They really don't. You ask them, they're all like, I don't know. Then they kind of duck the other way. Am I joking? No. So you can choose a path that divides us with harsh rhetoric and pits working people against each other, all the while pushing policies that will just help folks at the top do even better. But that's not helping working families.
It is official. Billy Bush reportedly fired from the Today Show after NBC executives threw him under the bus in a covert attempt to derail the Trump train.
Well, this morning, Melania Trump speaks out for the very first time since that 2005 videotape was released. I had an opportunity to visit Trump Tower yesterday for the exclusive one-on-one interview.
Excellent.
Melania, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Of course, welcome.
You're married to someone running for President of the United States of America.
Well, it was quite an amazing year and a half. It was a lot of excitement and a lot of drama, and we're just enjoying it. You know, I'm very strong, I'm very confident, and I could handle everything. But what I will not allow people saying lies about me, saying lies about my family, my husband, and I file a lawsuit, and I will file till the end because I will not allow that.
What lie made you the most upset, and how would you like to set the record straight?
The lie was that I was working as an escort. What is not true, and it's just terrible what's going on out there.
Is that a double standard with the mainstream media?
It is a double standard, and I see that mainstream media, they want to damage my family and my husband's campaign.
There were some reports about your immigration issue and how you got into this country when you started modeling here, your visa. Becoming a U.S. citizen. What are the facts?
The facts are that I always obey the law. I have all the documents.
Among these life, liberty, and the pursuit.
I have very clean past. I would never stay here on the as undocumented.
I think all women in America felt for you and for what you went through, and just all the allegations of these women coming forward. What was your reaction?
I was not surprised in one way because, as I said before, everything was organized. Why now? Why 3 weeks before the election? And what they're accusing my husband, that is not the person that I know.
What is your message to these women?
That all the allegations should be handled in a court of law. And without the evidence, to accuse somebody, is a man or a woman, it's damaging and it's unfair.
He came out, he apologized immediately on that. I think the tape was released on Friday. He immediately came out and he said, I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Those
created with certain unalienable rights. Among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So what do you say to women that are watching, women voters, female voters, that haven't been able to get past it?
My husband is kind, he's a gentleman.
They're here illegally. You take them, they have to go back.
We have to show some compassion. We just can't throw everybody out.
They have to
You're
come
going to split up
illegally.
families.
Chuck,
You're going to deport children.
Chuck, no, we're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep
But
them
they have
together
to
out?
go. But they have to go.
How do you throw somebody out that's lived in this country for 20 years?
He cares about people, he cares about women. He's not the man that we heard him on the tape. Many times I gave him an advice and I didn't agree to do all the tapes on Howard Stern with Billy Bush because I know those people, they hook him on. They try to get from him some inappropriate and dirty language.
I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists.
What do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
Decided to run. Is it true that you were pushing him to do that? And did y'all have a conversation like, okay, some of these things might come out, some pictures, some conversations? How did you handle that as a couple?
We talked about it. His life was open book. A lot of people know about it. My husband, he's raw and he's real. And he tells it as it is.
What do you think about becoming First Lady of the United States if Donald Trump does win? What do you envision?
In 21st century, it's very important now. We see social media. It can be very, very bad. I see negativity that children go through. And it's really sad. And I would focus on that.
What do you think of Hillary Clinton?
I think she's fighting. But I see it's like a Clinton machine behind it, and they are playing politically correct game.
Congressional baseball game, great timeless tradition.
Better like Coors Light.
Can't get over the irony or the fun of like members of Congress playing ball on a field paid for by lobbyists.
Yeah, I'd have never known that.
So we make a lot of jokes about the congressional baseball game, but there's a reason for it, and that's for raising money for charity. They just gave a check for $300,000 for a charity for children. What position they have you today, Senator?
You know, I'm an outfielder. We'll see where they put me.
The first game as a presidential candidate. Do they treat you any different?
No, I think they treat me worse.
You are the young bucks of the game today because there's a lot of geriatrics here. Thoroughbred. And the Democratic staffers all get drunk on this side and cheer for their bosses. It's so surreal. The racing presidents are running, and they're running straight toward the real president, President Obama. Rand Paul's on deck, and Obama's standing right there. It should be very interesting to see. Rand Paul really squelched an opportunity.
Sounds like his presidential campaign.
How do you trash talk at the congressional baseball game?
You know, like, I bet your bill never got out of committee since last Congress. Call that an amendment? My intern could have written that.
And they are protected very well.
There are a lot of people that want to hear more from you.
Well, it was my decision not to be on the campaign trail. My priority is our son, and I want to be a mother first.
I wanted to ask you about the debate. What is your advice to Donald Trump?
Just to be himself. Keep it calm, cool, focus.
Halfway across the globe and we're standing on
and to talk about issues that American people want to hear about.
That's great advice. You know, that's a real eye-opener, seeing her, because she's such a big part of his life, and the way she looked at the, the various tapes that have popped up and the women who
You know what I take from it? She wants to win.
At
The
first,
whole
I thought
family
she
does.
was like, okay, if you want it, you can have it. I think she, watching that, I go, wow, she really wants to win.
Right. I walked into that apartment thinking she wasn't going to be as strong as she is.
Yeah.
She's extremely strong, and I loved her answer. She said, no one tells me what to do. No one tells me where I'm going to be on the campaign trail. I'm a mother first, and that's why I'm not out there.
Right, and that's why she collapsed the jewelry line. She just said, hey, you know what? I'd rather be with my son.
Yeah.
Why did I become a parent if I'm going to be traveling all around?
Very good interview.
Right.
Hard
Awesome.
questions and great answers.
Thank you.
Screaming across the waves, you can't hear the sound.
I'm the only one in the state.
No fair trials, no train, no liberties, no teeth. Colonized America, we won't stand for tyranny.
I'm very pro-choice.
And it's too late to apologize. It's too late. Over happiness. It's too late to apologize. It's too late. I said it's too late to apologize. It's too late.
Who pays for it? The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.